Hello there, my fellow High School Musical, the musical series fan. I'm your host, Dingus, and it's been a while since I made a video about this show. It's been, probably almost a year now. And the reason for that is because, as you can tell by the title, I have a lot of thoughts about this season, both good and bad. And I kind of wanted to wait until the entire season was over to judge it. Now, before I get into everything, I want to say a couple things. First off, spoilers for this entire season, including the finale. So if you have not seen the finale yet and don't want to be spoiled, then add this to your watch later and then come back. Two, this is just my personal opinion. You can totally agree or disagree with me, and that's totally fine. Based off of what I've seen on social media, there are definitely things that I am seemingly in the minority of that you will probably disagree on. So keep that in mind. Be kind. And three, there may be times in this video. This video is going to be a just raw, just my thoughts on this season, and there will probably be times where I might get a little bit too passionate about certain things. So if that ever happens, then I apologize. So I will try to go in as order of the season as I can. I might jump around here and there just because there are things that I feel more passionate about than others. But this season was coming off of, in my opinion, the best show, best season of 2019, and the second best show of 2020, second best being right after Mandalorian Season 2. I absolutely loved Season 1. I watched Season 1 about 6 times. I got pretty much all my friends into the show. I was probably the biggest fan of the show you would ever meet. I was literally telling every single person I would come across to watch the show. I was that big of a fan. So season 2 had a lot of high expectations going into it, which I probably shouldn't have had that going in because it can never match up to season 1. I feel like just because of how much I enjoyed season 1. So going into season 2, I was really hyped. I was probably never more hyped for a TV show than I was for season 2. And, it started off not so bad, in my opinion. When the season first started, I was a big Rini shipper. I thought that they were endgame just based off the first season and how it ended. Now, I want to explain where my head was at the end of the first season. That way you guys can kind of have a better understanding of where my likes and where my critiques are when I eventually say them moving forward. My headspace last season was at the finale, where things were going and where things were cut off. Where things were going is that Nini and Ricky were going to be together for this entire season. We just had a whole season of drama between them. There's no reason to do that again. That's just bad writing. They're going to be together, and it's going to be a great time. Also, there is no more Nini and EJ drama, no more Ricky and EJ drama, and no more Ricky and Gina. Because Gina has feelings for EJ. EJ has feelings for her, and he just doesn't know it yet because he bought the ticket for her. And Gina now sees something in EJ. There was that couple seconds of a lingering glance that Gina had towards EJ, and in film and television, it's a visual medium. So what you see tells more than what you hear and what the characters say. So that lingering glance from Gina in season 1 pretty much, in my head, meant that Gina now only has eyes for EJ and not Ricky. And also, yay, Big Red and Ashlyn, they're amazing. So going into season 2, that's where my head was at. Now, I think it would be unfair of me to not even touch upon this. Now, obviously, this isn't confirmed. It's also none of our business whether or not it's confirmed, but I feel like I should touch upon it anyway. If there was any real-life drama between Joshua Bassett and Olivia Rodrigo, that very obviously could have changed things. Personally, and this is just my opinion that, again, I feel like I nor you should have any right, honestly, to have this kind of opinion because it's not our lives. But personally, I don't think real life drama that's just romantic drama should impact the writing or the characters in any way, because we're supposed to be professionals. But that definitely could have changed things. So I feel like I would have done a disservice to the season if I didn't mention that. Going into season 2, first episode or two, it was looking pretty good with Ricky and Nene. They were very much lovey-dovey. It was great. They even when best part, great song. Things were looking pretty good, and then we had, I think, the best episode of the entire season, with when the episode where Nene decides to come back and she sings "Granted" and comes back. I think that was the best episode of the, not even the season, but the entire series. But also from the get-go, what was kind of should have been a red flag to me of how I would feel about the season was the fact that Ricky and Gina'S still seem to have some sort of eyes for each other. Now, I know there is a big Rena fan base out there, so I'm not trying to say anything against the Rena fan base. I just have, it's my personal opinion. You guys have your opinion. That is totally fine, and I respect that. In my opinion, Rena is probably the worst ship on the show. I just personally think Gina and Ricky don't have a lot of good chemistry together, and I honestly feel like it's kind of out of nowhere. I also feel like, just with me personally, Gina hasn't really been a likable character until the past, like, 5 episodes when she started to look more towards EJ. I still feel like she was kind of not a homewrecker, but just a little bit like, it's hard to explain. I just didn't find her likable until maybe about halfway through the season when she started to see more with EJ than with Ricky. So I was never on the Rena train, and I, like I explained in the beginning, I thought that ship had sailed in the season 1 finale, so I was already a little bit upset in the beginning of the season. But I looked past it, I was like, you know what, it's going to come to an end eventually, everything is fine. Big Red and Ashlyn are still going great, they're great. Let's be real, guys, they're the best couple on the show. They just have terrific chemistry together. Ashlyn might be the best character on the show, honestly. I think she also has the best voice on the show. Might even be one of the best acted characters on the show. Like, Ashlyn is just great. Big Red is also just the best, and they are the cutest together, especially in the finale when we knew Big Red was doing something for Ashlyn in between scenes, but that was just so adorable. They're great. Seb and Carlos are fantastic. There is something that I want to touch upon Seb and Carlos. Want to touch upon pretty much the entire season as a whole. And then I want to say, what is it, about maybe 4 or 5 episodes into the season, we get, in my opinion, what I've wanted, one of the best things that I've wanted ever since season 1, and that is the date between Ricky's dad and Miss Jen. And that entire scene is incredible. It pays off pretty much everything that I've wanted to see with them. I've definitely been on the train of Ricky's dad and Miss Jen over Mr. Mazzara and Miss Jen. I still am, but I'll talk about that more once I get to talk about the finale. We get that, and then it just ends. And I understand why, from Ricky's standpoint, why he would want that, but at the same time, he knows Miss Jen, and up until that point, I kind of feel like he's liked Miss Jen. So I feel like if he had any, if there was to be a person that he was more inclined to want to date his dad, then I feel like Miss Jen would be that person. Because he didn't really have a disdain towards Miss Jen until after. they went on dates. So that just kind of felt out of character to me. That episode is really where I started to see that this season, in my opinion, was not written well at all. It had its really good moments. There were some times where it was great. Like I said, I think it was episode 5 or something, the episode where they were trapped in the school because of the snowstorm. Literally, I think the best show in the episode in the entire series. That episode was terrific. Um, there are also times throughout the season where everything with Ricky everything with Joshua Bassett, I should say, acting, writing, singing, terrific. He can't go wrong. But that's where I was kind of like, this feels out of character for everybody. I honestly didn't feel like Ricky would go after Miss Jen like that. Like I said, I feel like if anyone was to date his dad, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't Ricky want his dad to get out there in season 1? I could be wrong. I could be misremembering. So he knew it was going to happen anyway. Who better than Miss Jen, who you know pretty well and you have a pretty decent relationship with? That felt out of character. Then everything, literally everything, with Ricky and Nene totally felt out of character. They were both just being incredibly stubborn and selfish and stupid, and that didn't make any sense at all, because Ricky's development in season 1 ended with him not being selfish anymore. Literally, the entire "I love you" speech is about him not being selfish anymore, and saying, if to be with her if it means doing another musical is fine. And Nene jokingly says, "I get to choose a musical," and he's like, "That's fine, that's fine." Like he did not. That his arc ended in season 1 with him no longer thinking about this relationship selfishly, and then they just went right back to it. And Nene could have easily just explained to Ricky everything, instead of being very stubborn and standoffish. She was very, very standoffish this season, and I don't know if that was always the plan, because I remember hearing when season 1 was still coming out that the showrunner has already planned out kind of ideas for like 4 or 6 seasons, something like that. So maybe that was always the plan, but it just felt totally out of character for Nene, and everything that happened with them could have totally been avoidable if Nene just spoke her mind instead of just being very standoffish. So pretty much everything with them this season, outside of like episode 1 and 2, was kind of just so going against season 1. And I also feel like all their writing this season up until their breakup was also just bad writing, because it's retreading old ground. And when you're writing a show like this, you don't want to retread old ground, because that's just lazy and poor writing. You want to take the characters in the story in new places. You want to take them somewhere we haven't been yet and we haven't seen them yet to further their development. You don't want to retrace old steps. And in season 1, the entire season is sort of will they, won't they drama between them to better their characters. Nene discovers that, hey, she doesn't need a guy to feel happy. Ricky discovers, hey, I need to stop being selfish. And then they get together because they discovered that about themselves. And then I feel like this season, they just forgot about that. They just came back and just forgot. Nene forgot, oh, yeah, I already know how to love myself without having a guy. And in this season, she's like, I need to learn to love myself. I don't need Ricky. I need to learn how to love me. Like, you already learned that in season 1. And then Ricky, like, I can understand Ricky wanting her to be around more, but, and the Rose song, that's a different story. I can understand Ricky having that selfish thought and feeling to want her to be around. I think, anyone in a relationship would want to be around your significant other a lot, especially if it's a long distance thing. But at the same time, again, Ricky, you just figured out last season to not be selfish, right? You still have FaceTime. She definitely came to visit. Like, it's nothing's wrong with you guys. So that totally felt like they were just treading old ground, and that just was really lazy, in my opinion, and wasn't right. And I want to bring this up again. I might bring this up one more time throughout this episode, throughout this video. But I was talking to my friend about this, and we both kind of agree that sometimes between these two characters, it felt eerily similar to what allegedly happened in real life. And we think they could have rewrote their characters to reflect real life, which, again, and if that's the case, I don't want to say for certain that is what happened, but if that is the case, that is very, very poor writing, because you got to stay professional. You can't allow what your romance in real life affect the show. You can't. So, did kind of feel that way. But then, about halfway through the season, things start to pick up, and things start to get good again. And then, about halfway through the season, things start to pick up, and things start to get good again. The Ricky and Nene breakup, after about an episode, I got over it, and now I am no longer part of the Rini ship. I think you got to choose one. All right, you retreaded ground twice with them. End it. Rini, don't make them endgame anymore. As much as I was totally on board for Rini at the start of the season and last season, it's just better writing if you don't go back to that. On again, off again storylines are just not entertaining. they're just not. They're just frustrating and just not good writing. One of my favorite shows of all time, Friends, had that every season with Ross and Rachel, and it just got so tiresome and so annoying. Just decide. And I feel like with their breakup this season and with Let You Go, they decided no more Rini, and that's fine. Let me talk about Lily here for a second before I have more thoughts on Lily for the finale. When Lily first showed up in the trailer way back in the day, I was so against Lily. I was like, oh, this freaking blonde girl is going to ruin everything. She's going to ruin everything. And while, yes, she is a villain for the majority of this season, I was honestly relieved that she wasn't the one that ruined their relationship. And then also halfway through the season is where Gina starts to have feelings for EJ, and EJ starts to have feelings for Gina for real this time. Let me backtrack. I should also touch upon the flashback sequence between Ricky and Gina. I don't know if that was filmed way back during season 1. I don't know if they just refilmed it now and they just had them wear their old costumes. It's hard to tell because in the finale for Second Chances, they had the actors wear their old costumes. And while, yes, some of it is noticeable that they did have to film it now and they didn't film it back then, they looked really, really close to how they looked in season 1 in the premiere. So I don't put it past the show to have them look so perfect in their old clothes from season 1 that they could have just filmed it now, but it felt like they filmed it during season 1. Regardless, if they filmed it during season 1, they should have had that in the finale, because that would have shown that there was more between Ricky and Gina in the finale, instead of just having it pretty much end in the finale and then have Gina have that lingering glance towards EJ. If they had that scene between Gina and Ricky in the season 1 finale, then there is some, what do you want to call it? Some I don't know, lingering threads for season 1 between or for season 2, I should say, for Ricky and Gina. So it didn't feel out of nowhere if they had it during the season 1 finale. If they did film it back then, if they filmed it now for season 2, then it felt like they just did that to justify the fact that there were still Ricky and Gina's storylines, in my opinion. It felt totally out of nowhere, and also from Gina's end, it felt totally like out of the blue. Same for Ricky. In season 1, I never got the impression that Ricky had any kind of romantic feelings towards Gina. I just felt like Gina was someone who he befriended in a time of need. Gina was the one that weirdly kissed him in the homecoming episode, and in the finale, it was always Nene in season 1. It was always Nene in season 1. The only time where it was like maybe it's Gina is when he was singing "When There Was Me and You" to her, and I think it was episode 8. But even then, it's just a song from High School Musical. Like, it's not even a song he wrote that he's singing to her. It's just a song from High School Musical that he's singing. That was nothing too big. And then Gina, out of nowhere, seemingly saying, if I didn't move, I would have continued to work on us. There was no us. There was no them. Because Ricky had always had eyes for Nene in season 1. So that, either way, felt totally out of the blue and just did not work for me personally. Also, a big thing touched upon the season now, but final real gripe I have with this season, before getting into things that I like at the end, is the fact that they felt like they had to put conflict in with literally every single couple in this show. Obviously, the biggest conflict was Ricky and Nene. Then, I guess Gina, and Gina, EJ. Even the occasional strange conflict between Ashlyn and Big Red and Seb and Carlos. You don't need that, alright? You can have conflict outside of relationship drama. Now, you could argue, well, they're in high school. High school relationships have conflict. Sure, I understand that. Sure. But at the same time, this is a TV show. And, this is just me. My own opinion. I watch TV and movies to escape from real life, not for it to mirror real life beat for beat. So, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with where Big Red and Ashlyn are, and pretty much for every character is, I'm pretty happy with it right now. But especially Big Red and Ashlyn, because they really stuck together, even throughout all the BS drama, but they didn't need to do that. They had plenty of drama with North High. They could have just had conflict there. They could have had conflict within each other, within the group for Beauty and the Beast, if, just the pressure could have raised their stress levels to have conflict that way. North High is probably the biggest conflict they could have had. They could have definitely done more with the North High conflict instead of trying to force in a lot of unnecessary relationship conflict. Because you don't need to have that to make a relationship good. The best... Now, this is probably unfair because these are literally, in my opinion, the two best couples of all time and the two best characters of all time. But if you've seen the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or if you've seen the show Doctor Who, Fitzsimmons in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Amy and Rory in Doctor Who, in my opinion, are the two greatest couples of all time. And with Fitzsimmons, there was never really a time where there was conflict, like drama, I should say. Conflict is a different word. Drama in their relationship between them. There's only like one episode, and even that, at the end of the episode, was not a thing more because they were still very much in love with each other, meant to be at the end. And they were the greatest couple of all time. You know why? Because there were outside causes of conflict between them to drive the story forward. The writers weren't just shoehorning in conflict unnecessarily and out of character with these characters that felt forced and rushed and didn't make sense. They were always very much in love with each other. They were always there for each other. and the show still thrived, the characters still thrived, and were arguably better because of it. Same with Amy and Rory. Outside of one episode, and at the end of the episode, things were totally fine again. There was never any kind of drama between them in their relationship. And again, the show thrived because of it, and their characters thrived because of it. You don't need to have relationship drama just for the sake of adding drama. If the only way in your mind to add drama and conflict into this show and to the characters is to retread old ground from season 1, then you shouldn't be writing the show in the first place, because that is bad writing. Now, I think we're in a very good position with season 3, because I like where every single character is. I really like where they're at in this finale. Let's go down the list. Nene doing her own thing. Love that. Because honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Nene right now. I honestly think she's been a little bit of a B word this season. So her going on her own, perfect. Keep her out of all this, please, because she just is not doing any of the characters' favors right now. EJ and Gina, I was very nervous for a second because, again, it was so unnecessary having this all, like, your brother thing. Like, it's so unnecessary. You could have just had them go on their date and we would have been in the exact same place. Honestly, it would have been better because we would have had that great scene of them at their date, which would have just been so cute and adorable and heartwarming. EJ and Gina are endgame. It's been that way ever since season 1. It hasn't come out of nowhere. Fortwell has been endgame for them since the very beginning. That's too long. Since season 1. So I'm happy they still stuck to that. But at the same also, why the hell would you show them running towards each other in terrible framing, by the way, and then just cut it and not show them kiss? It's Gina's first kiss, so it's important for the character to see that, but also it's important for other reasons. One, to show and not tell, because that is the backbone of writing show, don't tell, to show that EJ is still very much tied to the Wildcats and to East High, to show that Gina is in a fantastic place now and is past Ricky. She knows what she wants. In the episode where she was trapped in the airport with Asher Angel, great episode. I loved his character, by the way. I don't hope he comes back anymore because she's with EJ now, so I don't want to have any kind of drama with Jack, but he was great. They were great together. Great episode. In that episode, she says she's waiting for the right person and to have her first kiss, and you know, EJ's here. EJ, they needed to show that instead of cut it. I don't understand why they cut that. It makes no sense. In the interview, I read an interview with the showrunner, and he said, and the writer, he said, because I wanted people to envision their first kiss when it happens. Like, well, one, that's rude because what if someone didn't have their first kiss yet? Two, that's no. Like, it's so much more powerful and impactful and meaningful if you show it. Like, imagine if the I love you scene in season 1 with Ricky and Nene, you didn't show them kiss. Like, it just ended with Nene being like, sometimes better when they just kiss, and they just cut it and they don't show it. That scene is so not as impactful or emotional if they just cut it. It's the same thing here. Why the hell would you do that? Sorry. I thought I was done with the critiques. But I do like that they are finally now together at the end. That is great. That is awesome. Again, big credit to Ashlyn. I love them. Let's go. They're great. They better not split them up and do any kind of BS stuff next season, if there's next season, because they're just too good together. They're too perfect. Seb and Carlos, they're in good terms, I think. They're in good hands. They're great. Again, same thing with Big Red Ashlyn. I think they're perfect for each other, and they should never break up. Howie and Courtney need to get a little more better communication, but I think they're in a solid place as well. Miss Jen, Mr. Mazzara, Ricky's dad. I can't really gauge where Miss Jen's head at right now because she seemed pretty happy when Ricky went to tell her that he gave her a blessing, which was great because, like I said earlier, I think it was very out of character for Ricky to snap on Miss Jen like that. So to have him now finally give her his blessing is great, and she seemed pretty happy about that. But at the same time, there is this Mr. Mazzara. Now, I personally think that you don't have to have every single character be a love interest for characters. Like, guys and girls can just be friends. They don't, and colleagues, coworkers. They don't have to be romantic partners. I like Mr. Mazzara a lot. I'm a big fan of Mr. Mazzara, so I'm not as against Miss Jen and Mr. Mazzara as I am Ricky and Gina, but I think the better option, story-wise, for multiple reasons, is Ricky's dad and Miss Jen. Because that way, one, Mr. Mazzara, I think, is too smart to work at the school. I think he deserves that Caltech job. So I think he definitely would be better at that job. But also, for Miss Jen, I think it would be better to go with Ricky's dad, because then, one, while, yes, the entire theater program is her quote-unquote children, of course, now she would have a child with Ricky, and she would be a real mother in that way. But also, for Ricky, it would be the best, because his real mom is in Chicago now. His real mom's still kind of a B word. I still don't like his mom, but now he would have a mother figure around all the time. I know Miss Jen, he sees her pretty much every day at school, but outside of school, he would still have a mother figure. And like I said earlier, I can't think of anyone else better to be that mother figure than Miss Jen. So I think for everyone, it would be the best case scenario if Miss Jen ended up with Ricky's dad instead of Mr. Mazzara, but I'm not as against Mr. Mazzara and Miss Jen as I am Ricky's dad and Miss Jen. So you've probably noticed that I haven't talked about one thing yet, because this is probably where I'm going to lose a lot of people and piss a lot of people off. But I am big on Ricky and Lily. I'm probably literally the only one, besides probably Olivia Roskian, who is on board with Lily and Ricky. But I am big on board with Lily and Ricky. And let me explain why before you get angry in the comments. Yes, Lily has not been the nicest person this season. She definitely has been the quote-unquote villain of the season. But at the same time, there have been some genuinely nice moments with her character, and some moments where I think she has genuinely, for lack of a better term, genuine. The whole scene in the hallway between her and Ricky, I think, I know she ended up stealing the harness after that, but I honestly think she was being genuine there with Ricky. The phone call she had when Ricky was in Big Red's basement, and he was like, that was a weird phone call. I think she was being completely genuine and honest throughout that entire phone call. And in the finale, at Slices, I think she was, I don't think she's trying to trick Ricky anymore. I really don't. I think she was 100% being genuine about having feelings for him, and really did meant the fact that she deserved to have a second chance. Now, the elephant in the room, she stole the harness. Ricky doesn't know about that. That needs to come clean before I think they can have a solid relationship moving forward. Especially with the writing. Now, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but Ricky and Lily, I think, are better suited for each other now. Now, because of the fact that they've pretty much made it clear that Ricky and Nene are better off as friends. They're on the same page to be friends, and Let You Go, which is a terrific song, pretty much makes it clear that they're just friends now, and that is fine. You can just be friends. Characters can just be friends. But because of that, I think Ricky and Lily are the most perfect for each other now, because Ricky has problems at home with his mom, and Lily seems like she has problems at home, so they can help each other become better people. And I think Ricky especially can help Lily be a better person. But I can see them going the cliche route where Ricky and Lily are going strong. Lily has definitely been redeemed. And then Ricky finds out that Lily stole the harness in like episode 7 of season 3, and he gets all mad and breaks up with her. Like, that cliche is a cliche and is overdone and should not be done. But I can 100% see that happening. That needs to get solved within literally episode 1 and in 5 minutes of episode 1. And she needs to come clean and be like, look, I'm sorry. It was a lapse of judgment. And she needs to come clean, be genuine about it. And I think because of that honesty and upfrontness, I think Ricky would probably forgive her and give her a chance. But if she doesn't do that, then I can definitely see them going the cliche route. But outside of that, I legitimately, and it could just be the acting of Olivia Rose Keegan, because I think she was great as Lily and did a terrific job. I think she really brought a great duality to Lily, where yes, she was a villain at times, but like I said, there were definitely circumstances and times where I legitimately thought she was a good guy and she was totally being sincere. And I think that's how her character ended, being sincere and being honest. And I really hope they continue that moving forward. And I really, really think Ricky and Lily are better suited for each other now than Ricky and Nene. They tried it twice. It didn't work out twice. They sang a song about letting go. Well, he sang a song about letting go. I think they're done. I think they should be done. They shouldn't retread that old ground again. Again, that would just be lazy, just dumb writing. Let's take this someplace new with Ricky and Lily. These two people can now help each other, and that is the best place to go. I know a lot of people online do not agree with me in there, and that is totally fine. But I think Ricky and Lily are endgame. I don't mind. While I do think that it was like, what the hell? Like, why does Miss Jen just not care about it now? They're not going to show us Zach in the finale. They're not going to show us the contest in the finale. While that was my initial impression when I watched the finale this morning, honestly, I don't really care. It is what it is. I don't think the kids ever cared about the competition, so it wasn't out of character for them. It just was kind of like, there's no payoff with it because they're setting it up these entire 12 episodes, and then it was the entire reason to Beauty and the Beast, and then now, like, you don't care about it. Like, that was the only, for like a split second, I was like, that's kind of weird, but who cares? Season 3, I think, could be the best season of the show so far. Because now, every character definitively is in a, has a line moving forward. Like, Ricky and Lily, definitive. Nene, her own thing, definitive. EJ and Gina together, definitive. It's not any kind of open-ended thing like I guess season 1 was. And also the idea of them it being like a summer season with possibly no musical. I think that would be really interesting. It would give us more time to have character drama, have character development. Drama is the wrong word. Character development, more just great. Those heartfelt character scenes throughout this show are fantastic. It's the times in between where they don't know what to do that worries me for the future of this show. And while it's not going to happen, I think the show needs a new writer. I think this show has too much potential, has too much talent to be wasted on a writing of this season. It's the last time I'll mention it, but they had COVID an extended period of time to figure out this writing, and everything just felt forced and lazy and rushed. So either the current writer needs to step it up for next season, if there is next season, or they need to get a new writer, because this show is too good, has too much potential, and has too much talent to be wasted. But I think the idea of a season taking place totally in summer, which is my favorite time of the year, so it's even more exciting, but to also not have a musical that they're doing could do wonders for the show. It really could do wonders for the show. Is this show going to get a season 3? On one hand, I want to say yes, because of how popular Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett are right now. They might want to capitalize on that, but at the same time, it seems like Olivia Rodrigo does not want to be on the show anymore. she definitely felt like she was just not interested at all. Her performance throughout this entire season did not feel like she was there or interested at all. It definitely felt like she wasn't where she was in season one, especially where her character is at the end of season two, where she kind of has her music career, obviously very similar to real life. They could have written that in a way to just write Nini off of the show. And if there's two options right now to have a season three with no Nini or to just end the show, have season three with no Nini. That is the better option for the show. There are plenty of other characters. I think pretty much all the characters right now on the show are better than Nini. Like I said earlier, I'm not a fan of Nini right now. But there's plenty of other story to tell in this show. And this show and the fans deserve for the show to go on. So if that's the case, then just write her off the show. But if she is still going to stay on the show, I think they can capitalize on her fame right now to have more seasons. I don't know, numbers-wise, how successful this show has been, ratings-wise. I was scrolling through Twitter just really fast for like 5 minutes just to kind of gauge the audience's reception to this season. And it seems like a mixed bag. It seems like half of the people were like, yeah, this writing was terrible. And half of the people were just totally on board. I'm kind of right in the middle. While I think the writing wasn't the best this season, I still really enjoyed the show. I still really like this show. I know I probably spent the vast majority of this video kind of like crapping on the season, but I still really like this show. And there was a period of time this season where I just kind of was fed up with the whole Ricky and Nini drama because like this makes no sense. It's bad writing. And for like a week, I was like, I can't watch the show anymore. I'm not watching the show anymore until I know everything is good again. And within a week, I watched the show again because I just like the show too much. I couldn't stay away from the show. At the end of the day, with this show, as poorly written as it was, I still came back every week. So even if the writing kind of stays the same with season 3 and beyond, I am still gonna show up every week to watch. And I think a lot of the fans are in the same headspace as I am right now. On the other hand, I don't know if you guys got the same feeling that I did, but that credit, like, sizzle reel, blooper reel, whatever, that felt like a goodbye. That felt like a send-off. That felt like a series finale, like, emotional impact. That felt like a series finale right there, where the actors were like, this is their last time with the characters. The song and music choice to put behind it felt very like, thank you so much for supporting the show. And here's the thing. While I love the show, and while I would love to have a season 3, and while I would be right there, 3 a.m. every day, every Friday or every Wednesday, whenever it would air, to watch the episodes like it was this season and last season, I don't think the show would be worse off if there wasn't a season 3. Because I think now, again, it's my opinion, I think if the show ended right here, while we wouldn't have closure with all the storylines, obviously, I think we could be in a good headspace being like, yeah, Nini's going to have a great music career ahead of her, and that's where she should be. Yeah, Ricky and Lily, they're going to have a great relationship together, and that's where they deserve to be. Ricky and EJ and Gina, they deserve to be together, and that's where they're going to be, and that's great. So I think all the characters have a really happy ending right now at the end of season 2, and moving forward, if there was no season 3, it's not like there's a massive cliffhanger where I'm like, what the heck is going to happen? I need to watch it. I can imagine that these characters are going to have a happy ending where they are right now, because on that road that they're headed, I think they are all headed towards a happy ending. But that being said, I would love to have a season 3, as long as it doesn't ruin that. I mean, I think the show could be worse off if they have a season 3, because based off of writing of this season 3 could split up EJ and Gina. Could split up Lily and Ricky and cannot take advantage of that potential that they have to make each other better people, especially Ricky making Lily a better person. I think they could ruin that. Season 3 could ruin the whole Nini thing and having her own music career. Like, honestly, right now, season 3 might be the worst option. As much as I want to see it, they need to continue to write these characters happier right now and have outside conflict instead of inside drama between these couples and Nini, to ruin things, because that is not what you need to do. Have outside conflict in season 3. That is the way to go. If they don't have outside conflict and just plan on continuing to split EJ and Gina up from the inside, split Ricky and Lily up from the inside, then don't do it. But if they're going to have outside conflict in season 3 and continue to have EJ and Gina be great together, continue to have Big Red and Ashley be great together, continue to have Carlos and Seb be great together, continue to have Ricky and Lily be great together, and have Ricky really help Lily be redeemed, then move forward to season 3. Then do season 3. So, those are my thoughts. This is a long video. This is way longer than I thought. Probably none of you guys are stuck around until now, but if you are, leave a comment. Say the word, I don't know. Say in the comments, just for a moment, if you stuck around until now. So thank you if you did. Those are my thoughts on season 2. Like I said, I haven't made a video on the show in a while because I had so many thoughts on season 2. I didn't want to judge the show until this season was over. I still love the show. I would still love for there to be a season 3. I hope there is a season 3. If there is a season 3, if and when they announce a season 3, this channel will be back full force. Full force as in like 1 to 2 videos a week about High School Musical series. But if there is a season 3, I hope there is, not only to watch the show again and to see more of the show, but to hopefully for the first time be able to interact with you guys about the show and to experience the show with you guys, because honestly, I haven't checked this channel in a long time, and you guys seem to really enjoy. You guys, there's probably only 2 people watching this video anyway. This video only is getting like 2 views probably, but you guys seem to really enjoy my High School Musical series videos, and really did engage with them. So, one, I apologize for there not being a video for so long. I just haven't checked this channel in a long time because I was focusing on other things, but I think season 3 could be really fun for us to experience together. So hopefully that happens. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts were on season 2. Whether it's agreeing with mine, disagreeing with mine. Let me know in the comments. Remember, just keep it civil. These are all our opinions that we're entitled to. No one is wrong in their opinions. So let's keep it civil. Let's have some fun conversation in the chat, in the comments. Let's just celebrate our love for the show. And if you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of those videos that are going to happen if season 3 is announced. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And hopefully, I will see you